Tonight on the Fifth Estate, they come packed with promises.
I will guarantee you that this will change your reality within 3 to 5 days.
Herbs, minerals, vitamins. 3 out of 4 Canadians take them.
Right here I have our liposomal D.
So this is our Bacopa. It's a very potent antioxidant.
It's a $1.4 billion industry with players from big pharma to mom and pop. But what is in the bottle?
I go in to buy a product that I believe in, that I care about, and I pay a lot of money for. It's not even in the bottle. Are you kidding me?
Could we be taking too many?
Many people are taking too much vitamin D. We can't assume that more is necessarily better.
Could they be dangerous?
You actually can hurt yourself. You actually can increase your risk of cancer, increase your risk of heart disease. I think few people know the risks they're taking.
I'm Gillian Findlay, and this is the Fifth Estate. In the fields outside Guelph, Ontario, Stephen Newmaster is on a quest. He's a botanist at the University of Guelph, part of an international team collecting and cataloging nature, making a library of its DNA. For Newmaster, it's a labor of love. He believes in the power of nature to heal.
I buy and use natural health products. I believe in them. I've used them all my life. I've used them with my family. We have that anecdotal evidence that you have some ailment and you take whatever the remedy is and it's dealt with.
So it's an irony that his study would shake the industry that makes those products. In 2012, Newmaster and his team randomly selected 44 herbal supplements sold in Canada and the United States and started comparing what was in the bottle to the DNA in their databank.
We looked at the results and I was fairly astounded. It's like, wow.
60% of the products contained ingredients not listed on their labels. Even more astonishingly, 1 in 3 proved to be outright fakes.
What really surprised me most were complete substitutions. That's where there's a product on the label and the only DNA we found is for some filler, like alfalfa.
So they were advertising it as being a particular product and there was none of that
And it
product?
wasn't even in the label. And as a consumer, if I put my consumer hat on, you know, that pissed me off. Because I go in to buy a product that I believe in, that I care about, and I pay a lot of money for. And it's not even in the bottle. Are you kidding me?
At around the same time in Long Island, New York, another case was coming to light. And this time, the contamination would hurt people. It started with a woman who decided she wanted to get into the vitamin business.
I started in my kitchen, making them by hand back in the 80s. I would order the ingredients, I would order the capsules, and with a plate of 100 capsules, I would weigh it out and fill them up. And you have a bottle of 100 capsules of any particular vitamin you wanted.
Do you have background in pharmacology or medicine or any expertise in this area?
I did some college, but most of my time was spent in the medical libraries at Stony Brook.
So you sort of were self-taught then, were you?
Self-taught, correct, yes.
Candace Tripp called her company Purity First. The vitamin formulations were developed by her ex-husband, a chiropractor. And what was his academic background or expertise in this area?
He was a chemist. He was a chemist in college, and then he went on to chiropractic school.
From modest beginnings, she grew the company into a $500,000 a year enterprise, selling Purity First on the internet, in retail stores, and through local alternative healthcare providers.
Purity First is a great name, and I said, gee, how can you go wrong? It's what you would imagine that you would want in every single vitamin, that it's absolutely pure.
Vinnie Grosso was an early Purity First customer. The vitamins became part of his daily pursuit of better health.
I'm running every day, I'm feeling great up until the October, November, December timeframe of 2012, where I had some very unusual symptoms.
Unexplained back pain soon became debilitating. He then started hearing from other Purity First customers who told him of their own problems.
I'm hearing stories. My daughter is an honor student. She's on the swim team, but she's been thrown out of school for being overly aggressive. I'm talking to a woman who had lost her position in a choir because her voice had changed. I'm talking to another woman who said, I've got these incredible bleeding scales on my head and I can't go to work.
What they all had in common were the Purity First B50 vitamins they were taking. Testing would reveal the vitamins were contaminated with anabolic steroids. By then, customers had started hiring lawyers. Chris Marr was one of them. And the stories, as horrific as they were, started making sense.
Hair growth on a young lady who was one of our clients, basically developing mustache, beard. There's something called clitoromegaly, a horrible, it's something I was not familiar with, but it's actually the female sexual organs taking on a male configuration. For the men who ingested these things, they develop what's called gynecomastia. You end up with male breasts.
How the steroids got into the bottles didn't turn out to be much of a mystery. Purity First had outsourced production to a manufacturing company that used to be based here. Mira Health Products, it turned out, made more than just vitamins. It was Candace Tripp's current husband, Joe Queller, who confirmed it with Mira's owner.
I called Mike and said pretty much what could have happened. And, you know, he was making the male enhancement pills. And he said, Joe, he said, if they found any type of steroids in there, the only thing I could possibly think is maybe the mixer was not cleaned enough.
Some vitamins manufactured here on Long Island are triggering.
The FDA recently issued a recall after steroids were found.
Mira, it was revealed, had a history of manufacturing violations. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration would eventually shut the company down.
We're in Farmingdale in front of Mira Health Products.
As for Purity First, the FDA demanded the vitamins be recalled, but that would take nearly 6 months. What it all revealed was how little oversight there is of an industry that affects so many.
I was very concerned, and then I realized that this whole industry needs change. And how much danger we're all in, not just from Purity First likely, but from others that can put anything into these little bottles and put a seal and a label on it.
When we come back, when it comes to supplements, how much is too much? Can they actually cause harm?
You actually can hurt yourself. You actually can increase your risk of cancer, increase your risk of heart disease. I think few people know the risks they're taking.
In Canada today, there are more than 27,000 natural health products licensed for sale. Purveyors from pharmacies to health food stores to international chains. GNC, the largest, has 200 stores across Canada with plans for more.
3 is essential for good health.
Our screens blare advice on how supplements can make us healthier.
Supplements. I get this question all the time. I only take 4 pills.
Reputations and fortunes have been built on dispensing that advice.
The leading nutritional experts agree that everyone should be taking a multivitamin, multimineral product.
But amid the hype, what's often lost is the science that increasingly warns what we're taking to feel healthy might actually be doing us harm.
When people walk into the dietary supplement or vitamin store, they think that everything is just perfectly safe.
Dr. Paul Offit is an infectious disease specialist and best-selling author. His book, Do You Believe in Magic?, questions whether we're taking too many supplements, starting with vitamins.
I mean, you need vitamins to live. The question is, do you get enough in food? And I think the answer to that question is yes. But now there are studies done showing if you take a megavitamin, you actually can hurt yourself. You actually can increase your risk of cancer, increase your risk of heart disease. I think few people know the risks they're taking.
And how do you know what's too much?
Here's how you know what's too much. You shouldn't bypass the satiety level. Your stomach is only so big for a reason.
He illustrates the point with 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. That's one of these tablets. But consider this. The vitamin C in that one tablet is equal to not 1, not 2, but between 7 and 8 entire cantaloupes.
No, you're not meant to eat 8 cantaloupes. It's a dangerous thing to do, to go against what nature intends.
It's even worse, he says, with vitamin E. This capsule contains 1,000 international units. You can also find vitamin E naturally in almonds. But to get the same amount, you'd have to eat a lot of almonds, 1,670 to be precise. Scientific studies have shown that too much vitamin E can be dangerous, especially to men.
If you take large quantities of vitamin E as a supplement, you clearly and definitively increase your risk of prostate cancer. And in a better world, in a regulated world, where vitamin E, a regulated product, it should have a black box warning on it that says just that.
Vitamins E and C are antioxidants. For years, we've been drawn to them because antioxidants are the mortal enemy of free radicals, cells linked to cancer and other diseases.
I mean, if you look at people, for example, who eat diets rich in fruits, rich in vegetables that contain antioxidants, they do seem to live longer and have lesser rates of cancer and heart disease. So the thinking was great. Okay, now we figured out a way to make ourselves healthier. Now let's double down and take even larger quantities of antioxidants, and that's where we cross the line. And now study after study shows that, in fact, it's true. You can take too much in the way of antioxidants.
But that message hasn't reached the public, even though it appears the scientific world has reached consensus. In 2013, the Annals of Internal Medicine published an editorial. Enough is enough, argued. The case is closed. Supplementing the diet of well-nourished adults with most mineral or vitamin supplements has no clear benefit and might even be harmful. So what about vitamin D, the sunshine vitamin? Next to multivitamins, it's the top-selling vitamin out there, promoted by everyone from family doctors to those on TV, like Dr. Mehmet Oz.
Vitamin D, if I had to pick one vitamin to push to everybody to think about again in their lives, it's vitamin D.
It's true we do all need some vitamin D. Health Canada, like U.S. authorities, recommends adults get 600 international units a day. But look at the doses some are pushing.
Most of my patients I've recommended 5,000 IUs daily.
Around the 5,000 IU tends to be perfect. When people are initially really low.
On this Canadian website, I answered 3 questions: my height, my weight, and my age, and was told I needed 10,000 international units a day, 16 times what Health Canada recommends. That advice came from this health research foundation in Calgary. Pure North Synergy, a nonprofit enterprise, is on a mission to improve Canadians' health by, among other things, increasing our levels of vitamin D.
Okay, so vitamin D, do you want to take that right now? Okay. Yes, and that will boost your vitamin D level.
Here, they test blood levels and say none of the participants has ever been harmed by taking more vitamin D. They believe Health Canada made a mistake in calculating the daily amounts it recommends. They base that largely on a study by an Alberta epidemiologist. For its part, Health Canada and the U.S. Institute of Medicine have rejected that Alberta study, but Pure North continues to disagree.
Those recommendations that Health Canada makes are a blanket recommendation, and what they assume is that the population is healthy.
That's the problem, says nutritional scientist Samantha Kimball, head of Pure North's research department.
We know that 60% of the population is overweight or obese. We know 50% of the population has digestive issues, the rates of chronic disease, et cetera, that those assumptions just don't apply to our population.
Okay, well, I went onto your website, I went to your vitamin D calculator, and I put in my age and my weight and my height. And the recommendation that came out of that was that I needed 10,000 international units of vitamin D. What is the evidence that you can point to say that your numbers are right?
Well, there's plenty of evidence that demonstrates that that level is safe. The other component of that is that in order to reach an optimal blood level, that is the best available evidence demonstrates that 10,000 is what you would require.
Well, first of all, you didn't take my blood level. I did this all on the computer, so you don't know what my blood level is. But nevertheless, you're recommending I need that kind of...
As a Canadian, in the winter, if you're not already taking supplements, that's
your best guess.
What you require, yes.
But it is a guess. It's not.
Oh, no,
not
it's
science.
definitely a guess. Everyone has a different response to vitamin D.
When I hear that various groups are recommending 10,000 IUs a day or even 5,000 IUs a day routinely. I really want to say, show me the data, show me the evidence.
Evidence is what Dr. Joanne Manson is accumulating here. The Brigham and Women's Hospital researcher has collected blood samples from 25,000 people, making her vitamin D study one of the largest in the world. She's comparing disease rates between those who take vitamin D supplements and those who don't. Final results won't be known for 2 years, but already Manson has concerns.
Many people are taking too much vitamin D. The Institute of Medicine also recommended avoiding getting above 4,000 IUs daily because that could be associated with adverse events. Calcium in the urine, which can be associated with kidney stones, high blood calcium, calcium in the arteries, vascular calcification, as well as soft tissue calcification. And there are now studies that show a U-shaped curve that those who have high as well as low blood levels of vitamin D have higher risks of cardiovascular disease as well as all-cause mortality. So we can't assume that more is necessarily better.
Then there's fish oil, the third most widely used supplement in North America. The omega-3s contained in the oil are believed by many to be essential for good health.
DHA omega-3 in particular is extremely important.
Adam Ismail is executive director of one of the world's largest fish oil trade associations.
There's certainly ample evidence that it helps things like reducing blood pressure, reducing your risk of coronary death, reducing triglyceride levels, your heart rate.
But the science behind fish oil is a little more complicated.